ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशव वामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. So as I said in the last session, Vivekachudamani is moving towards the ultimate teaching of Vedanta, and that is the Mahavakya Vichara. And what is Mahavakya Vichara? Where the equation is drawn, where one sees a non-difference between me, the Atma, and the Ishvara or Brahman. Now, from the Tvampada Vichara, I have already understood that I am not the body mind sense complex. I have negated the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, Ahankara, and I have come to the very strong conclusion and understanding that that consciousness which is negating the Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharira, that very consciousness is the one who is me. My nature, the Tvam Padartha, or I am that Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta Atma, of the nature of pure consciousness, Sat, Chit, Ananda Atma. I am of the nature of pure existence, consciousness, and Ananda or Swarupa Ananda. When we try to see what does Vedanta say, look at the same way, look in the same way, in the same manner to the world outside also. See what the world is. The world is nothing but name and form, and the Adhishtanam of that Jagat is nothing but Ishvara or Brahman. So, you, the body mind sense complex, the Anatma, also has the basis of Atma, which is what is called as the Adhishtanam of this Anatma body mind sense complex. And Brahman is called as the Tat Padartha, or that, this I and that Tat Padartha. That Brahman is the one which is the Adhishtanam, which is actually the you can call it the substratum or the very support of the entire universe. And then he wants to say that the Upanishads want to say, our scriptures have to say, and that is a central teaching. They want to convey this idea that you, the Atma Swarupa, is not different from the Tat Padartha or Brahman. And for that, the Brahman, the Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahman was talked about. And what was the Swarupa Lakshanam? We saw that in the last four verses which we took in the last session. We saw very clearly that Brahman is of the nature of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. And I very clearly explained to you also what is the meaning of Satyam, what is the meaning of Jnanam, and what is the meaning of Anantam. So Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma, which is the Adhishtanam, which is the substratum of this entire universe. And Ishvara is that. The name and form called Ishvara, whatever is my Ishta Devata, is a Mithya form. Actually, Ishvara is nothing but the whole Jagat. Ishvara is manifesting as the whole Jagat, and that is nothing but Brahman. From the point of view of the Jagat, from the point of view of the Samashti or the total, you call that same consciousness as Brahman. And from the point of view of the individual body, mind, sense complex, it is called as Atma. And Atma Brahma Aikyam or Atma Brahma Abheda is what the Mahavakya has to say. For that, Tvam Padartha was very in detail, it was described in the previous session we saw, and also we saw in the previous session the Swarupa Lakshanas of Tat Padartha, which I already said is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Now, what Vivek Chudamani wants to do is, what is the relationship between this Jagat and Brahman? This also I discussed to some extent in the last session. What is the relationship? Is Jagat or the world, manifest world which I see, is it entirely different from Brahman? Or is it a part of Brahman? Is it a property of Brahman? Or is it something which is a power of Brahman? What is it? What is this Jagat? I see this whole world with names and forms around me. And what is this Jagat which is full of names and forms? And is it something which is actually merely projected by Brahman, or is it something real? So we saw in the last verse we took up in the 70th verse, in the verse 232nd verse, in the 232nd verse, we saw that Satyam yadi syat jagat yetad, in case this world, now what do I explain this world as? Is this world Satyam or Mithya? Is the world really there or is the world really not there? First, the Shruti says that the Jagat is not there. The Jagat is Mithya. What is the meaning of Mithya? It expresses later, it explains later. But what is this Jagat? Is it real or it is not there? If it is not real, why it is not real, that is going to be expressed as I expressed and as I explained in the last session also. So he says, Satyam yadi syat jagad yetad. Supposing the world is considered to be another reality, parallel reality, then Brahman can never be called as Satyam. What is Satyam? Ekameva. There is only one truth. There is one absolute truth. There is only one Satyam. Trikale api tishtati. That is there in all three times. Trikale api tishtati iti sat. That existence which is all the time there. That existence which is infinite. That existence which does not waver. That existence which does not change. It is not as if, it was not there earlier, now it is there and it is going to disappear later. No, it is not like that. So, what is the meaning of Satyam? Satyam means that which has always been there, that which never disappears, that which is the ultimate existence of everything, that which lends existence to the entire universe, to the whole, whatever is there, it lends existence to the entire universe. And that is that Sat. And if Sat is infinite, as we have seen, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Anantam Brahma. If Sat or Satyam is infinite, there is only one Sat, isn't it? There cannot be two. If there is something infinite, then there is only one. There cannot be infinite plus something. So, if the Jagat is a parallel reality, if the Jagat is something which is real, then there will be Brahman plus Jagat. That means there will be infinite plus Jagat. It is not possible. Why? If a second thing comes, then there is nothing called as the infinite. There is no question of infinite when the second thing comes. If the world is a real reality, if the world is real, there will be two things. One is Brahman, which is real, world, which is real. It is not possible because Brahman is infinite. Brahman is the only Sat, the only reality, and Brahman is the one which is there all the time. It is infinite. So, infinite existence of Brahman will be questioned, will come into play if we take the world as real. This is a logical explanation, yukti. So, whenever we want to explain something in our Vedantic text, it takes, certain, conditions. One is logical explanation of something. If Vedanta wants to prove that something is possible or something is not possible, Then Vedanta takes recourse to one thing is logical explanation. Secondly, that which is talked about in the Shruti and Smriti. So, logically, the first explanation that Vedanta here gives is that world cannot be real. World is only a projected thing. Just like the magic is projected by the magician, just like a cinema is projected on the screen, just like a waker projects a dream, this is a mere projection. It is not a parallel reality. There are no two people in the dreamer. There is no waker plus dreamer. The dreamer is mithya. The dreamer is only an experiential reality. The dreamer is there as long as the dream is there, then it disappears. The magic is there as long as the magician is there. The magic disappears. When the magician folds up, the magic also disappears. The magic is not independent of the magician. The Swapna Avastha or the dream state is not independent of myself, the waker. Similarly, I gave an example of gold and ornaments also. Ornaments are not independent of gold if you take gold ornaments. Ornaments are dependent for their existence on gold. Can you say there are two realities? One is gold and one is ornament. Is it possible to say that? No. If there are two realities, if gold is also real and ornaments are also real, where is the value for gold then? Nobody will buy gold, they will buy only ornaments. I will tell you, you give me the gold and you keep the ornaments. So, what is the value of ornaments? Ornaments is mere name and form. Therefore, ornaments are mithya. Gold is the reality. Similarly, if world becomes another reality, then Atma will cease to be an infinite Paramarthika Satyam. This is the logical explanation. One has to understand the logic behind it. This is called as the yukti. The yukti is very simple. The logic is very simple. There cannot be two infinites. There can be only one infinite. The other infinite is either a part of this infinite, or the other thing, other reality, if you say, is either a part of the infinite or it is a mere projection. Similarly, ornament is a mere projection. Gold is the absolute reality. Similarly, he says that here, yadi satyam syat jagat yetad atmanaha anantatva hanihi. Atma will never be ananta. If there is a Jagat and Atma, then Jagat will limit the Atma, Atma will limit the Jagat. So there is no question of Atma being unlimited. There is no question of unlimited Atma. So what is the meaning of unlimited Atma? Unlimited Atma is that something which is absolutely not limited at all. So he says, if the Jagat is a parallel reality, then the infiniteness of the Atma will be questioned. That is logical. Secondly, it is Nigama Apramanata. Nigama Apramanata means the Shruti or the Upanishads or our Vedanta will lose its Pramanyam, will lose its validity. Because it's Vedanta or it's the Shruti which says that Brahman is infinite. Brahman is only one. Sadeva Somya Idamagra Asid Ekameva Advitiyam. Chandogya Upanishad says, Ekameva Advitiya Atma. The Atma is Ekam Eva Advitiyam. One and the only infinite Atma. If the world is a second reality, then the Upanishads will be proved to be wrong, which is not possible. Shruti cannot be wrong. Upanishads cannot be wrong. Thirdly, he says that Asatyavaditvam api ishituhu. For Ishvara or Bhagwan Krishna, who says, I am everything, I am that Atma, I am the infinite Atma, I am Purushottama, I am the Gunatita Atma, I am the Kshetrajna in all the Kshetras, I am that infinite Atma. When Bhagwan Krishna is saying that, when I say there is a separate world which is a reality, it will actually negate whatever Bhagwan Krishna has talked about in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, these three possibilities are there and none of them is desirable. Shruti cannot be wrong. Shruti Pramana cannot be wrong. That is first thing. Bhagwan Krishna in Smriti, in Bhagavad Gita, cannot be wrong in saying that I am the only infinite reality. And logically also, it is not possible to say that the world is another reality. So Shruti Pramanat, Smriti Pramanat, Yukti Pramanat, all the three Pramanas say that the Jagat is a mithya, it's not real, it is not the reality. Then what is this Jagat? It is a mere projection. What is the meaning of projection? Projection means that something which is available for perception, but that which is really not there. So, what is the relationship between Brahman and Jagat? That is now going to be told in the next verse. The verse number is 233. In the 233rd verse, Vivek Chudamani explains what Bhagwan Krishna talked about in the ninth chapter. He says, Matsthani sarva bhutani, nacha matsthani bhutani. Okay, that is te mai, they are in me, but aham na teshu aham na, I am not there in them. They are in me, I am not in them. What is the meaning of that? The whole world is in me, but I am not affected by the world. I am not in the world. The whole world is in me. It is based on me. The whole world draws its existence from me. I am the existence behind the entire name and form world. It is as though all the jivas, the entire world is in me, but really speaking, they are not in me. I am in all the jivas as the kshetrajna, and the jivas are there as though in me, but I am really speaking not in anyone. All the jivas are reflecting me as the Chidabhasa, and I will available in all the jivas as Chidabhasa. That is what he says. So here in the next verse, in the 233rd verse, Bhagwan Shankara is going to talk about what Bhagwan Krishna has said about the relationship of the world with Brahman. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna is talking as Brahman. And what is he saying here? Here in the verse 233, he says, Ishvaro vastu tatvajnyaha न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि इत्येवमेव व्यचीकृपत्. Vyachikripat means this is what Bhagwan Krishna told Arjuna in his teaching in Bhagavad Gita. What did he say? Who is Ishvara? Ishvaraha Vastu Tatvajnaha. Ishvara or Bhagwan is the one who knows the reality. Bhagwan is the reality itself and he knows the reality. He is the very reality itself. So he says here, Ishvaraha Vastu Tatvajnaha. Ishvara knows the Vastu very well. He knows the Tattva of the whole world very well. Ishvara, as Brahman, is speaking to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. So, who is Ishvara? Ishvara is the Tattvajnaha. Ishvara means the Lord, Lord Krishna, the one who knows the truth of Brahman. Tattvajnaha, Ishvara Vastu Tattvajnaha, the one who knows the truth of Brahman, the one who knows the truth of existence. As what? I myself, he himself. Bhagwan says, I am that existence, I am that consciousness, I am the one who is providing existence to everything in this Jagat. So he is the Vastu Tattvajna. Ishvara is the Vastu Tattvajna, and he says, Nacha aham teshu avasthitaha. They are in me. The world is in me, but I am not in the world. I am not of the world. The Jagat is in me. The Jagat arises in me. The Jagat is sustained by me. The Jagat resolves into me, but I am not in the Jagat. Matsthani bhutani nacha matsthani bhutani. The bhutas or the jivas are in me, but I am not in any of them. The bhutas are in me, and actually speaking, the bhutas or the jivas are not in me also. Bhuta means jivas. The jivas are as though situated in me because all the bodies of the jivas are mere projections. But the Atma of the Jiva is me myself. Whereas the bodies of the 84 lakhs varieties of Jivas is nothing but a projection from Maya. Therefore, who am I? I am not in them. They are situated in me. The whole world takes its existence from me. Therefore, what is the world? The world is Mithya and I am the Satyam. Therefore, न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि इत्येवमेव व्यचीकृपत्. This is what Bhagwan Krishna talked about in Bhagavad Gita also. Then again, what is the relationship between this world and in Ishvara? That is what is going to be told here in the next verse also, 234th verse. What is the relationship that is being talked about? यदि सत्यं भवेद् विश्वं सुषुप्तावुपलभ्यताम् यन्नोपलभ्यते किञ्चित् अतो सत्स्वप्नस् अतो सत्स्वप्नवन्मृषा. So here Bhagwan Shankaracharya says that another reason to say that the Jagat is not real, the Jagat is not Satyam. What is the other reason? If the Jagat is Satyam, it should be present in all three periods of time, correct? We have already said that anything which is Satyam is present in all three periods of time. So the Jagat should be present in all the three periods of time. Now, the Jagat is not present in all three periods of time. In Jagrit Avastha, Jagat is present. Which Jagat is present? The Jagrat Prapancha is present. There is a world which is there, which is next to me, which is surrounding me. In the waking area, the time, in the Jagrit Avastha, I see the whole Jagat. I see the whole world, but that is my Jagrat experience. The same world has disappeared in Swapna Avastha. Is the same world there in the Swapna Avastha? In Swapna Avastha, the same world is not there. It is totally different. It is not there in the Swapna Avastha also. Then what about Sushupti Avastha? Is this world there in the Sushupti Avastha? It is not there in the Sushupti Avastha also. That means the same world which I experienced in Jagrat Avastha is not the same world which I am experiencing in Swapna Avastha. My Jagrat Prapancha and Swapna Prapancha both are disappearing in Sushupti Avastha. Therefore, what is the reality of the world now? Which is real? Is my Jagrat Prapancha real? Or is my Swapna Prapancha real? Or my Sushupti Prapancha real? Of course, in Sushupti, there is no Prapancha at all. There is nothing there. There is absolute ignorance and there is absolute Ananda. Nothing else is there. Total ignorance. I am not even aware of myself. What is the question of my being aware of this entire universe? So, if the same section of the universe which is there in the Jagrat Avastha is not there for me in the Swapna Avastha, and that dream world which was there in the Swapnavastha, which I experienced very, very clearly, but that dream world which I experienced in Swapnavastha is not there in the Jagrita Avastha. And both the Jagrita Avastha Prapancha and the Swapna Avastha Prapancha, both are not there in Sushupti Avastha. Then what is the reality to the world? Secondly, another thing we'll say, this whole universe is Ishvara's creation. We know that this whole universe is Ishvara's creation. What is available to me? A small portion of the world is available to me, which is experienced by me. What is my Jagat? What I am experiencing is my Jagat. Here in Bangalore, at present, whatever I am experiencing outside, with a few people like me, is my Jagat for me. But Jagat is so much more. There are so many other places, so many other areas, so many planets. I am not experiencing them. Where is that Jagat for me? If Jagat was real, I should have experienced the same Jagat in all the three avasthas, and all of us should have experienced the same Jagat all the time. But do we do that? Do we see that? The person who is living in, say, Mysore has a world of his or her own. Those of us living in Bangalore, we have got our own world. Those of us living in some other country, they have got their own world. I don't see their world, they don't see my world. I may be aware of that world, but I am not experiencing that world. So, what is reality for me? The Jagat is not the reality for me. The experienced Jagat is reality for me. See, you think over it very carefully. The entire Jagat which is there, the entire Jagat is not the Jagat of my experience. It is not the object of my experience. What is the object of my experience? A small portion of this universe, a minuscule portion of this universe around me is experienced by me, and that becomes the Jagat for me. That Jagat which I have experienced today is not there tomorrow for me. That Jagat which you are experiencing is not there for me. Even now itself, you are experiencing a different world, I am experiencing a different world. If that is so, how can you call Jagat as reality? Very simple. Therefore, Jagat is not a reality. Then what is it? If Jagat is not a reality, I am experiencing it. The Jagat is very much there. It is not as if the Jagat is absent. In Jagrit Avastha also I experience it. There are some of us who are commonly experiencing a common world. What do you call it? It is Ishvara Srishti. It is Mithya. It is a projection by Maya. It is the world of names and forms which is projected by this Apara Prakriti, taking existence from Para Prakriti, and the whole world is a projected false world. Therefore, the world is called as Mithya. If Mithya is the nature of the world, in what way can it be connected to Brahman? Brahman is the reality. How can it be connected? Supposing we have a mirage. The reality is the sand, correct? But the water that we see over the sand is not the reality. Now, if you ask, what is the connection between the sand and the mirage water? What is the connection? There is no connection. If the mirage water was also real, it would have wet the sand. It would have got absorbed in the sand. It is neither absorbed in the sand nor does it wet the sand. So, what is it? Without sand, there cannot be a mirage. Sand or road or whatever it is. We see that on a bright afternoon on a tar road, also, we see a mirage. Yeah. So, what is the connection between the sand of the desert and mirage? Is there any connection? If you say there is no connection, there is. Because this appearance of water is on the sand, that's all. It is a mere appearance on the sand. Is it a reality? It is an experiential reality. It is not the real ultimate reality. The reality is the sand. The mirage is just an experiential truth or experiential reality. And in what way is this sand connected with the mirage? In no way. There is no connection. In what way is it connected? It is a mere adhishtanam, that's all. But in no way it is connected with the Jagat at all. If it is no way connected with the Jagat, then what is the reality of the world? Therefore, it says that this Jagat is false. This Jagat is mithya. Because he says, Yadi Satyam Bhaved Vishwam. This is the 234th verse. Yadi Jagat Satyam Bhaved. If this Jagat is Satyam Vishwam, Sushuptav Upalabhyatam. It should have been available in Sushupti also. Where is the in this tiny little world which I call my world and get affected and bound by this tiny little world around me? That small world itself is not there in Sushupti for me. What is the where is the question of the entire universe? I'm not even aware of even probably 99.999% of the universe also I'm not aware of. So here sushuptau upalabhyatam, if it was real, it should have been available where? In sushupti also, but it is not available in sushupti. Then yat na upalabhyate kinchin, yan na upalabhyate kinchin, that means kinchid na upalabhyate. Where? In the deep sleep it is not there. Ataha sat swapna vat mrisha. Therefore, this Jagat is also like Swapna Prapancha Mithya. When I wake up from the dream, where is the dream? But the dream was there. Can I call it false? No, it existed. But did it really exist? It did not exist. It really did not exist. Then what is this dream? It is Mrisha. Mrisha means what? Mithya. It is the Mrisha world. So अतः सत स्वप्नवन mrisha. Swapnavat mrisha. Like the swapna is mrisha. Mrisha means what? Mithya. Mrisha means false. Just like the swapna prapancha is false or mithya, similarly the jagrit prapancha is also false. Therefore this entire prapancha is false. When I'm dreaming, this waking prapancha is false for me. When I'm awake, the dream prapancha is false for me. When I'm fast asleep, both the prapanchas are false for me. Then which one is real? Is Jagrit prapancha real? Swapna prapancha is real? Or which prapancha is real? So he says, yan na upalabhyate. Even in one state of the jiva, in one avastha of the jiva, if this Jagat is not available, then it is Mithya. Mithya means what? It is experienced, it is an experiential reality, but it is not the absolute reality. Then you may ask the question, why? I'm not the only one experiencing this world. So many people are experiencing this world. All my neighbors are experiencing the same world. All people around me are experiencing the same world. What do our scriptures say? It is a common dream, Ishvara's creation. This universe is the creation of Ishvara, which is a common dream. So, waking avastha is as false as the swapna avastha. That is what our scriptures say. Though thousand people may be experiencing the same jagat, but then all the thousand of us are experiencing a Jagat which is Ishvara Srishti. It is a common dream dreamt by all of us. Therefore, Jagrit Prapancha is as false as Swapna Prapancha. Swapnavad Mrisha. And what is the most important world for us? Jagrit only. We don't have any other world. Jagrit world is the one which is very important for us. So he says, Yanna upalabhyate kinchit ataha asat swapnavat mrisha. Asat. It is asat prapancha. It is asat. The entire jagat is asat swapnavat mrisha. It is asat means it is mithya and it is swapnavat mithya. That's what it is. That is the relationship between Brahman and Ishvara, Brahman and the Jagat, between Ishvara and Jagat. What is the Jagat? It is a mere projection. It is a mere projection on Brahman. It is not affected. Brahman is not affected by that particular projection. Just like the mirage water is a mere projection, there is no real connection between the sand and mirage water. Similarly, this entire world is a mere projection on Brahman, and Brahman is not in any way affected by this mithya creation. So, what is the relationship between Brahman and Jagat? It is Satyam Mithya relationship. Satya Mithya relationship. One is the absolute truth, Satyam, the other one is a Vyavaharika or experiential reality. What can be the relationship? It is nothing is there. Satya Mithya relationship means, really speaking, the two are not connected. The two are not connected in any way. Supposing I dream of a son in law, can I have that same son in law really as a husband for my daughter? I cannot have because it's a dream son in law. Similarly, here also, when I say it is Brisha, when the Upanishads and when Vivekachudamani says it is Brisha, it means the relationship between Brahman and Jagat is that of a Satya Mithya relationship. That means what? Really, there is no relationship. There is no connection. There is absolutely no connection. It is a mere projection. What is the connection between the movie and the screen? Is there a connection between the movie and the screen? The such violent changes are going on in the movie, but is really the screen connected with what is happening in the movie? No, the screen is absolutely nirlepa, nirlipta. The projection of a movie is happening on the screen, but the screen is in no way affected. What is the relationship between the screen and the movie? Nothing. It is called as Satya Mithya relationship. Similarly, the connection between the world and Brahman is nothing but Mithya Satya relationship. Jagat is Mithya, Brahman is Satyam. This is the teaching of the Upanishad. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Brahman is the absolute reality and the Jagat is a mere appearance on this absolute reality. This is called as Jagan Mithyatvam. So, in with this, the connection between what the Jagat is with relationship to Brahman was talked about. In the next verse also, This particular thing is concluded here as to what is the relationship between Brahman or Ishvara and Jagat. That is what is going to be talked about here. So, in the next verse, in the 235th verse, 235, verse number 235, what does he say? अथः पृथङ् नास्ति जगत्परात्मनः पृथक् प्रतीतिस्तु मृषा गृणाहिवत् आरोपितस्यास्ति किमर्थवत्ता अधिष्ठानामा भाति तथा भ्रमेण अधिष्ठानमा भाति तथा भ्रमेण. So what does this mean now? Ataha prithang nasti jagat paratmanaha. The world is not separate from Brahman, but it has no connection with Brahman. The mirage water is not separate from sand, but it is a mere projection on the sand, but it has no relationship whatsoever. The ornament is a mere projection on the gold. The ornament and gold are not really related in any way. Therefore, but at the same time, there is no ornament without gold. There is no mirage without sand. Similarly, there is no world without Brahman. Prithang nasti. The Jagat is not separate from Brahman because without Brahman there cannot be a Jagat at all. There is no Jagat without Brahman. Without the Adhishtanam, without the existence, without the consciousness, there can be no world at all, no Jagat at all. So without this Brahman, there is no Jagat. Therefore, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. The whole Jagat is a mere projection in Brahman. Ataha, therefore, Prithang Nasti Jagat Paratmanaha. This Jagat is not separate. It cannot be separated from the Paratma. Why it cannot be separated? Because Jagat is the very Adhishtanam. Jagat is the very substratum. Jagat is the very support on which the whole, Jagat is supported by Brahman. Brahman is the only support. Brahman is the only Adhishtanam. The Jagat is fully supported by this Brahman. So, what is Brahman? Like the sand is the Adhishtanam for mirage water. Like the gold is the Adhishtanam for all ornaments. Like the magician is the Adhishtanam for the magic. Like the waker is the Adhishtanam for Swapna Prapancha. Similarly, Brahman is the Adhishtanam. Brahman is the support for the entire Jagat. So Jagat can't be separate from Brahman. It can't be separated. Can I separate the body, mind, sense complex from Atma? No, because Atma is that which sustains the entire Anatma. Similarly, Brahman is the sustainer of this entire universe. So, Pritham Nasti Jagat. The world is not separate from Brahman because it cannot be separated from Brahman. Because world being mithya does not have an independent existence of its own. It depends entirely on Brahman for its existence. Therefore, ataha prithang nasti jagat paratmanaha prithak pratitistu mrisha guna hivat. But I see it separately. One may say pratak pratiti is there. I see the world distinctly. I see the world very clearly. So, what is this prathak pratiti? What is this separate kind of an experience of the world that I am getting? Prithak, it looks as if it is different. I don't see Brahman whatsoever. At least I see the sand at the end of when I go near, I see only sand. But here I don't even see Brahman. Then what is it? Then Prithak Pratitistu. I am seeing it separately. This Pratiti means experience. Pratiti. But I see it as separate thing. I see it as something which is distinct. I see a distinct Jagat Pratitihi, Pratyak Pratitihi. But it is Mithya. What is the example that he is giving? Guna ahivat. Guna hivat means just like a snake on the rope. Guna means rope. Ahi means snake. Now, a snake is projected on the rope in semi darkness. Now, can I separate this snake from the rope? The snake cannot be separated from the rope at all. Why? The snake is projected on the rope. So the snake is mithya and the rope is satyam. Correct? Can I see the snake separately, Pritak Pratiti? Can I see the separate snake? Take the snake separately, separate it from the guna. Guna means what here? Here the raju or the rope. Can I separate it from the rope and see it separately? It is not possible. Wherever there is a rope, there should be the snake there. The snake cannot exist without the rope if it is a projected snake. If the snake is real snake, I will see the snake. But we are talking about the example of Raju and Sarpa. Whenever there is a Raju, whenever there is a Guna or Raju or a rope, and it is mistaken for a snake, what is the snake? It is a mere appearance on the rope. If the snake is an appearance on the rope, is the snake separate or prithak from the rope? No. Is it a part of the rope? No. Is the snake a property of the rope? No. Is it something which is a product of the rope? No. It is neither the property nor part nor product of the rope. Then what is the snake? It is a mere projection. What is a projection? False. So when I see a snake on the rope, it is false perception. It is false. What is the meaning of that? I cannot separate the snake from the rope because the snake requires the rope for getting projected. At the same time, that snake which I see on the rope is not the reality. It is a mere projection. Will the rope be affected by the snake? Will the rope become slimy because of the slimy snake? No. Whatever are the characteristics of the snake do not affect the rope. If the rope is white and the snake is black, does the white rope become black because of its association with the snake? No. Then what is the association? What is the connection between rope and snake? It is the relationship of Satyam and Mithya. Satya Mithya relationship. That means one is the reality, the other one is not the reality. So, same example is taken for Atma also, where it is said that Atma is the absolute reality and the Jagat is a mere projected reality. Therefore, the Jagat cannot be separated from Brahman or Atma. Atma and Brahman are the same. So, if I say Atma, don't get perplexed. Atma, Brahman, Tat Padartha, Ishvara, they are all the Paryaya Padartha. So, if the Jagat is a projected entity on Brahman, then the Jagat cannot be separated from Brahman. At the same time, the Jagat cannot affect Brahman. The connection between Brahman and Jagat is that of Satyam and Mithya. So I'm explaining it again and again because this is a difficult concept. It is not that easy to understand. You may feel that I'm repeating it a number of times. Giving multiple examples and repeating it is only to make the listener understand it more clearly. Because in Vedanta, a lot of repetition is necessary. Because whatever is being talked about is so subtle and it is so sensitive, it is sometimes necessary to repeat it till a person understands it. Therefore, the repetition is done in various forms, in different ways, so that repetition makes a sense to the person. So he says, Prathak pratitistu mrisha guna hivata. Guna ahivata. Just like a snake on a rope. How false it is? How connected is it to the rope? Similar is the connection between Jagat and the Brahman. And what is this rope called? What is this snake called which is projected? Any projection is called as aropa. Any projection on anything is called as aropa, aropita. That which is really not there, that which is projected upon something is called as aropita. The snake is aropita on the rope. The magic is aropita on the magician. The ornaments are aropita on the gold. Similarly, the Jagat is aropita, that which is projected on Brahman. So aropitasya asti kim arthavata? Is there arthavata? Is there real meaning for something which is projected? Is there any connection, real connection between that over which it is projected and the projected? What is the connection? Kim arthavata? Is there any arthavata there? There is no arthavata at all. Adhishtanam abhati tatha brahmena. Adhishtanam only is the reality. And whatever I see other than the Adhishtanam is nothing but mithya. It is Brahma. The Adhishtanam itself, the sand itself is seen as mirage. The gold itself is seen as the ornaments. The magician himself is seen as the magic. This is what is called as aropita. I get so lost in the aropita. I get so lost in the projection. I get so lost in the appearance that I lose sight of the reality behind it. This is what has happened to me. This is what has happened to every jiva. I am so much enamored by the name and form Jagat. I am so enamored by the projection, I forget that Adhishtanam Brahma. I don't see the Adhishtanam Brahma. Like when I'm watching the movie, I don't see the screen. I have forgotten the screen because the movie is completely occupying my mind. Though the screen is all the time there, I am not aware of the screen. I am only aware of the projected movie. Similarly, though Brahman is the only Adhishtanam, the only support, and the entire Jagat is projected on this Adhishtanam, the Jagat with all its names and forms is so attractive that I lose myself in the name and form and completely ignore and I don't see Brahman at all. Jagat takes away all my attention and I am not even aware of Brahman as the reality. All my attention is taken over by the Mrisha or Mithya, but at the same time, the reality is missed. This is the reason for my confusion. The unreal is taken to be real, and the reality, is totally missed in this whole Mithya thing. So this is how he says here that aropitasya asti kim arthavata. So really speaking, is the aropita jagat have any stuff in it? No. What is the very stuff for the tattvam of this jagat? The very tattvam of this jagat is nothing but Brahman, nothing but Atma. But then I am so much lost in the appearances that I do not see the reality. So, Adhishtanam Abhati Tatha Brahmena. So, I completely forget the Adhishtanam because I am lost in the appearance. Therefore, what is the connection between the Jagat and Brahman? Actually speaking, there is no connection between the Jagat and Brahman. It is the connection between Satyam and Mithya. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. This is the teaching. One teaching of the Upanishad teaching has been taken here. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. And from the next verse onwards, from the next section onwards, now the Mahavakya Vichara is going to come. The equating, Tvam Padartha we have already studied, Tat Padartha Brahman we have already studied. We have seen what is the connection between Jagat and Brahman, which we have already studied. Then what is the connection between Jiva and Ishvara? What is this Jiva Ishvara? What is the connection between Tvam Padartha and Tat Padartha? What is the connection between Tvam and Jagat? What is this Tvam and Tat Padartha? We have already seen Brahman as Tat Padartha, Atma as Tvam Padartha. What is the connection between the Tat Padartha and Tvam Padartha? Which is given by the word Asi. Tat, Tat, Tvam, Asi. Tat, that Brahman, Tvam, you, Asi. Tat, Tvam, Asi. You are that. You, the Atma, is that Brahman. Now, what is the meaning of are? What is the meaning of you are that Brahman? What is the meaning of are? That Mahavakya, where Tvam Padartha on one side, Tat Padartha on the other side, are equated and seen to be essentially non different from each other. This is what is called as the explanation of the Mahavakya. And this Mahavakya Vichara is going to be talked about from the next session, which we'll see in the next session, where the oneness, the meaning of are, you are that, asi padartha meaning or are, that meaning is going to be given in the next session on the Tattvamasi Mahavakya Vichara. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सत्